The Crescent Hotel, America's most haunted hotel. In the quaint town of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, tucked away in the rolling hills of the Ozark Mountains, stands a grand, Victorian-style structure known as the Crescent Hotel. Built in 1886, the hotel was originally a luxury resort for the wealthy, but over the years, its history has taken many dark and tragic turns. Today, the Crescent Hotel is not only known for its beauty and historical significance but also for its reputation as one of the most haunted hotels in America. The spirits that are said to haunt the hotel come from a variety of tragic eras, including its time as a cancer hospital in the 1930s. Visitors and staff alike have reported numerous eerie encounters, from ghostly apparitions to strange noises in the night, making the Crescent Hotel a must-visit destination for ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts. The Crescent Hotel's story begins in 1886, when it was built as a lavish retreat for the rich and famous. With its ornate architecture, grand ballroom, and sweeping views of the surrounding mountains, the hotel quickly became a popular destination for those seeking relaxation and rejuvenation in the mineral springs for which Eureka Springs was known. However, despite its initial success, the Crescent Hotel struggled financially over the years and was forced to close several times. It was during these dark periods that the hotel's history took a turn towards tragedy and death. In the early 20th century, the Crescent Hotel was repurposed as a college and conservatory for young women, but the financial struggles continued. The college closed in 1924, and the building stood empty for several years, a shadow of its former glory. But it was in the 1930s that the hotel's most infamous chapter began. In 1937, a man named Norman Baker, a self-proclaimed doctor and inventor, purchased the Crescent Hotel and transformed it into a hospital and health resort. Baker was a charismatic con artist who had made a name for himself by claiming to have a cure for cancer. He advertised the Crescent Hotel as a place where terminally ill cancer patients could come for a miraculous cure, offering treatments that involved nothing more than injections of a secret formula made from natural ingredients. Baker promised hope and healing to desperate people, but in reality, his treatments were useless, and many of the patients who came to the Crescent Hotel in search of a cure met their deaths within its walls. Baker's time at the Crescent Hotel was marked by deception, cruelty, and tragedy. He had no medical training and operated without a medical license, but that didn't stop him from luring hundreds of patients to his hotel-turned-hospital. Patients were housed in the grand rooms, and many spent their final days in pain and fear, their hopes of recovery shattered. Norman Baker's so-called cures did nothing to halt the progress of the disease, and many of his patients died from their untreated illnesses. Those who died were quietly removed from the premises, their bodies taken to the basement, which Baker had converted into a makeshift morgue. The basement, known as the Autopsy Room, was a place of death and darkness, where the remains of the unfortunate patients were stored before being discreetly buried or sent away. Eventually, Baker's fraudulent practices caught up with him, and in 1940, he was arrested for mail fraud and sentenced to 4 years in federal prison. The Crescent Hotel was once again left abandoned, its reputation tarnished by the horrors that had occurred within its walls. However, the spirits of those who died there, particularly during its time as Baker's hospital, are said to have never left. Today, the Crescent Hotel operates as a functioning hotel once more, but it has also become a hotbed of paranormal activity, with countless reports of ghostly sightings, strange noises, and inexplicable events. Visitors from around the world come not only to enjoy the beauty of the historic building but also to experience the hotel's haunted reputation firsthand. The ghosts of the Crescent Hotel are believed to be those of former patients, staff members, and even Norman Baker himself, their restless spirits forever tied to the place where they suffered or caused suffering. One of the most famous spirits said to haunt the Crescent Hotel is known as Michael, a stonemason who was working on the construction of the hotel in the late 19th century. According to legend, Michael fell to his death while working on the roof, landing in what is now room 218, which is considered the most haunted room in the hotel. Guests staying in room 218 have reported hearing strange noises, such as the sound of heavy footsteps pacing back and forth across the room, as well as the door opening and closing on its own. Some have even claimed to see the apparition of a man dressed in work clothes standing near the foot of the bed before disappearing into thin air. Michael's presence is often accompanied by the sound of tools clattering to the floor, as though he is still at work, even in death. Another frequently encountered spirit is that of a young woman named Theodora, who is believed to have been a patient at Norman Baker's hospital. Theodora's ghost is often seen near room 419, which was reportedly her room during her time at the hospital. Guests who have stayed in this room have described seeing a woman dressed in a nurse's uniform, tidying up the room or searching for something. When approached or spoken to, Theodora simply vanishes. Some guests have even reported returning to their rooms to find their belongings neatly arranged or moved, as though Theodora had taken it upon herself to organize the space. The morgue, located in the basement of the hotel, is another area where paranormal activity is frequently reported. The basement was once used by Norman Baker as a storage space for the bodies of patients who had died under his care, and it is said that their spirits still linger in this dark and eerie part of the hotel. The morgue is now one of the most popular stops on the hotel's ghost tours, and visitors often report feeling cold drafts, hearing strange whispers, or seeing shadowy figures moving through the dimly lit corridors. The autopsy table and old medical equipment that remain in the morgue serve as chilling reminders of the building's grim history, and many guests have described feeling an overwhelming sense of dread while standing in the room. One of the most unsettling encounters in the morgue involves the ghost in the freezer. The freezer, which was once used to store bodies, is said to be haunted by the spirit of a man who died during Baker's time at the hospital. Visitors have reported hearing banging noises coming from inside the freezer, as though someone is trapped inside, trying to get out. Some have even claimed to see the outline of a figure through the glass, only for it to vanish when the door is opened. The third floor of the hotel is another area where ghostly activity is often reported. Guests staying on this floor have seen the apparition of a nurse pushing a gurney down the hallway, as if transporting a patient. The sound of wheels squeaking along the floor and the soft shuffling of feet can sometimes be heard late at night, even when the halls are empty. Some have reported hearing distant cries or moans, believed to be the residual energy of the patients who once suffered in Baker's hospital. Even the hotel's lobby and dining room are not immune to the presence of spirits. The ghost of Norman Baker himself is said to haunt these areas, often seen wearing a white suit, as he was known to do during his time as the hospital's proprietor. Baker's ghost is described as appearing tall and well-dressed, with a calm but eerie demeanor. Guests have reported seeing him standing at the edge of the dining room, watching silently before disappearing into the shadows. Some have even claimed to hear the faint sound of Baker's voice echoing through the hotel, though his words are indistinct. In addition to these well-known spirits, the Crescent Hotel is said to be home to numerous other ghosts, some of whom are more mischievous than frightening. Guests have reported lights flickering on and off, objects moving on their own, and even the sensation of being touched by invisible hands. The hotel's staff have their own stories of strange occurrences, from unexplained noises to the feeling of being watched while working late at night. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Crescent Hotel remains a popular destination for visitors who are drawn to its beautiful architecture, rich history, and paranormal activity. The hotel offers regular ghost tours, where guests can explore the most haunted areas of the building and learn about the dark events that have taken place there over the years. For those brave enough, the hotel also offers overnight stays in its most haunted rooms, where many guests have reported ghostly encounters during their stay. The Crescent Hotel stands as a testament to both the beauty and the darkness of the past. Its long history, filled with tragedy, deception, and death, has left a permanent mark on the building, and the spirits of those who once lived, worked, and died there seem unable to leave. For those who visit, the hotel offers not only a glimpse into the grandeur of the 19th century but also a chilling encounter with the supernatural. Whether you come for the history or the hauntings, the Crescent Hotel is a place where the past refuses to be forgotten, and where the spirits of those who suffered within its walls still linger, waiting to tell their stories to those who are willing to listen.